The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Horizon Technologies' elegant lobby, reflecting off polished marble floors and sleek chrome fixtures. Located in the heart of downtown, the company's headquarters embodied everything Sofia Martinez valued: sophistication, precision, and uncompromising excellence. Sofia adjusted her impeccably tailored navy suit as she stepped off the elevator onto the executive floor. At 34, she had climbed the corporate ladder with ruthless determination, becoming the youngest senior operations manager in the company's history. Her reputation for transforming underperforming departments into models of efficiency was matched only by her exacting standards that extended to every aspect of her professional world, including appearance. "Morning, Ms. Martinez," called Angela, her assistant, hurrying to keep pace as Sofia strode toward her office. "Your 9 a.m. meeting with the department heads has been confirmed. The quarterly reports are on your desk, and Mr. Davidson would like a word when you have a moment." Sofia nodded crisply, mentally organizing her day. "Tell Davidson I'll see him at 11, and make sure the conference room is properly set up this time. Yesterday's tech issues were unacceptable." "Yes, Ms. Martinez." Also, HR mentioned that the new owner might be touring the facilities today, though they weren't specific about timing. Sofia paused mid-stride. The acquisition had been finalized last month, but details about the new ownership remained frustratingly vague. Some tech investment group had purchased Horizon, promising no immediate restructuring while they assessed the operation. In Sofia's experience, such promises were rarely kept. "If anyone from the new ownership group appears, I expect to be notified immediately," she instructed, her tone leaving no room for misinterpretation. As Sofia settled behind her desk, the familiar rhythm of corporate life enveloped her. She had just begun reviewing the quarterly projections when her phone buzzed with a text from Angela. "Maintenance issue in conference room B. Requesting your approval for alternative space for 9 a.m. meeting." Sofia suppressed a flash of irritation. Conference room B was specifically designed for executive presentations, with state-of-the-art equipment and the commanding view of the city skyline that impressed clients and motivated employees. Certainly, maintenance could have scheduled their work at a less disruptive time. "I'll check it myself," she muttered, rising from her desk. The hallway leading to the conference rooms was unusually quiet for a Monday morning. As Sofia approached room B, she noticed the door was ajar, and a man was crouched beneath the presentation system, surrounded by tools and disconnected cables. Her first impression was one of unprofessional dishevelment. The man wore faded jeans with a visible hole at one knee, scuffed work boots, and a plain gray t-shirt that had seen better days. His dark hair curled haphazardly, too long for corporate standards, and a day's stubble shadowed his jaw. "Excuse me," Sofia spoke sharply, her voice carrying the authority that made junior executives tremble. "What exactly is going on here?" The man turned, and Sofia was momentarily struck by eyes the color of warm amber, surprisingly alert and intelligent in his casual face. He smiled, revealing a slight dimple in his right cheek. "Just fixing a connectivity issue with the presentation system," he replied, his voice carrying an unexpected depth and confidence. "Should be done in about 10 minutes. Sofia glanced pointedly at her watch. "We have an executive meeting scheduled in this room in 45 minutes. This maintenance should have been scheduled during non-business hours." "Sometimes technology decides its own schedule," the man said with a light shrug, turning back to the tangle of cables. "But don't worry, Ms. Martinez, Senior Operations Manager. Ms. Martinez, your meeting won't be affected." There was something in his tone, not quite dismissal, but certainly lacking the deference she was accustomed to from support staff. Sofia felt her professional composure slipping. "I don't believe I've seen you before. Are you new with the maintenance team?" The man paused his work, looking up with an expression she couldn't quite read. "You could say I'm new to the building, yes. Well, at Horizon Technologies we maintain certain standards, including appropriate attire even for maintenance personnel. That shirt is completely inappropriate, and those jeans." She gestured at the torn knee with barely concealed disdain. A flicker of something, amusement, crossed the man's face. The jeans are comfortable for crawling under desks. And the shirt. He glanced down at the plain gray fabric. What's wrong with my shirt? Sophia straightened, adopting the posture she used when delivering performance reviews. Horizon Technologies is a premier technology firm with an image to maintain. Every employee, regardless of position, represents our brand. Your current appearance would be better suited to changing oil at a garage than working in a professional environment. Rather than appearing chastened, the man's smile widened slightly. And if I were changing oil at a garage, would this outfit be acceptable then? The question caught Sophia off guard. That's hardly relevant. The point is perception, isn't it? He interrupted, standing up to his full height, which Sophia was annoyed to note was considerably taller than her own 5 feet 7 inches, even in her power heels. You're judging my capability based on my appearance. I'm judging your professionalism and attention to company standards, Sophia corrected coldly. Now, will this room be ready for the 9 a.m. meeting or not? It will, he assured her, turning back to his work. And for what it's worth, Ms. Martinez, sometimes the most valuable insights come from unexpected sources. Sophia didn't have time for maintenance staff philosophy. Just make sure it's done, she said dismissively, turning to leave. And for future reference, please dress appropriately or speak to your supervisor about company expectations. As she walked away, Sophia heard him call after her. I'll be sure to take that under advisement, Ms. Martinez. Something in his tone made her pause, but pride prevented her from turning back. She had meetings to prepare for and a department to run. The improperly dressed maintenance man would have to be someone else's problem. Back in her office, Sophia pushed the encounter from her mind, focusing instead on the day ahead. The morning progressed with its usual efficiency until Angela knocked tentatively at her open door just after 11 a.m. Ms. Martinez? Mr. Davidson had to reschedule, but there's someone else here to see you. Her assistant's normally composed demeanor seemed oddly flustered. Before Angela could finish, a familiar figure appeared behind her. The maintenance man from earlier, still in his faded jeans and gray t-shirt, though he'd added a casual black blazer that somehow made the ensemble look intentional rather than haphazard. Ms. Martinez, he greeted her with that same confident smile. I believe we have a 1 p.m. meeting scheduled, but I thought we might start with lunch. There are some matters I'd like to discuss regarding the company's future direction. Sophia stared, momentarily speechless. I don't have any lunch meeting on my calendar, especially not with, "Oh, I apologize for the confusion," he said, though his expression suggested no confusion at all. He extended his hand. Daniel Reyes, new majority owner of Horizon Technologies. I prefer to get to know my companies from the ground up before making my presence officially known. Maintenance closets and server rooms can tell you a lot about a company's true operational health. The blood drained from Sophia's face as the full implication of the morning's encounter crashed over her. She had lectured the new owner about appropriate attire. She had dismissed him, condescended to him, and treated him like an inconsequential subordinate. And judging by the subtle gleam in his amber eyes, Daniel Reyes had just been biding his time, waiting for exactly this moment. The restaurant Daniel Reyes had chosen was nothing like Sophia had expected. Instead of the sleek, trendy establishments where corporate executives typically conducted business lunches, he had brought her to a small, unassuming Brazilian place tucked away on a side street. The restaurant had no hostess stand, no elegant decor, just simple wooden tables, vibrant murals on the walls, and the tantalizing aroma of authentic cuisine. Best feijoada in the city, Daniel explained as they were greeted warmly by the owner, an older woman who embraced him like family. Anna has been feeding me since I first moved here with nothing but a backpack and a laptop. Sophia sat stiffly across from him, still processing the morning's humiliating revelation. She had spent the brief car ride mentally composing and discarding various damage control strategies. Should she apologize profusely, maintain professional distance, offer her resignation before he could fire her? Relax, Ms. Martinez, Daniel said, observing her discomfort with those perceptive eyes. If I fired everyone who judged me by my appearance, I'd have no employees left. Sophia straightened her shoulders. Mr. Reyes, about this morning. Daniel, please. He waved dismissively. And let's set that aside for now. I'm more interested in your thoughts on Horizon's operational challenges. The quarterly reports suggest inefficiencies in the product development pipeline that your department has been trying to address. The abrupt shift to business caught Sophia off guard, but professional analysis was her territory. Cautiously, she outlined the implementation difficulties they'd encountered with the new project management system and her proposed solutions. Daniel listened intently, occasionally asking questions that revealed a surprisingly nuanced understanding of both the technical and human factors involved. By the time their food arrived, rich, flavorful dishes that Anna insisted on serving herself, Sophia found herself engaged in the most stimulating professional discussion she'd had in months. You're right about the integration issues, Daniel said, savoring a bite of his meal. But I wonder if we're solving for the wrong problem. The development team doesn't need more oversight. They need better communication channels with the end users. With respect, Sophia countered, momentarily forgetting her precarious position. Our metrics clearly show that structured oversight reduces error rates and improves delivery timelines. Daniel's eyes lit with challenge. Metrics can tell a compelling story, but sometimes the wrong one. Have you spent time with the development team, understanding how they actually work versus how your processes say they should work? The question struck uncomfortably close to Sophia's management blind spot. She maintained rigorous standards and expected her teams to adapt accordingly. The idea of adapting her systems to accommodate their working styles seemed counterproductive. I believe in clear expectations and accountability, she said carefully. As do I, Daniel replied, his expression thoughtful. But expectations can be clear without being rigid. The best systems adapt to the humans using them, not the other way around. Their conversation continued in this vein, challenging Sophia's deeply held management philosophies while simultaneously respecting her expertise. It was disconcerting, this blend of authority and collaborative exchange that Daniel so effortlessly embodied. As they finished their meal, Sophia finally gathered the courage to address the elephant in the room. Mr. Reyes, Daniel, I want to apologize for my behavior this morning. My comments were unprofessional and inappropriate. Daniel studied her for a moment. Were they unprofessional, though? Or were they precisely in line with the professional image you believe Horizon should project? The question was unexpectedly profound. Sophia considered it carefully. Perhaps both. I stand by the importance of professional standards, but I should have expressed my concerns more respectfully, regardless of who I believed you to be. A slow smile spread across Daniel's face. That's a more honest answer than I expected. Most people in your position would simply tell me what they think I want to hear. I don't believe in wasting time with insincere platitudes, Sophia replied, surprising herself with her directness. Neither do I, Daniel agreed, his amber eyes warming. Which is why I'm going to be equally direct with you, Ms. Martinez. Your department has impressive efficiency metrics, but your employee turnover rate is the highest in the company. I need to understand why. Sophia felt as though the solid ground beneath her had suddenly shifted. Employee retention had always been her Achilles heel, a fact she typically obscured beneath the stellar performance numbers of her department. High-performance environments aren't suitable for everyone, she said carefully. I maintain exacting standards. Standards that apparently extend to criticizing maintenance staff about their genes, Daniel observed mildly. Sophia felt heat rise to her cheeks. That was an overreaction. Daniel leaned forward, his expression suddenly serious. Here's what I believe, Sophia. You're brilliant at systems optimization, but you've been optimizing for the wrong variables. A company isn't a machine, it's an ecosystem. And in your pursuit of operational excellence, you've created a climate of fear rather than innovation. The assessment stung with its accuracy. Sophia had always prided herself on running a tight ship, but somewhere along the way, had her leadership style crossed the line from demanding to draconian? I appreciate your candor, she managed, struggling to maintain her professional composure. If you're looking to replace me, replace you? Daniel looked genuinely surprised. Why would I replace one of the most talented operations managers in the industry? No, Sophia, I don't want to replace you. I want to challenge you. Challenge me? Daniel nodded, a glint of something that looked almost like mischief in his eyes. For the next month, I want you to work directly with me on a special project. One that will require you to rethink everything you believe about effective management, starting with appearances. Sophia felt a flutter of apprehension. What kind of project? We're launching a new division focused on accessibility technologies, software and hardware for users with different abilities. The team will be unconventional by Horizon's current standards. Your job will be to create an operational framework that facilitates their success without imposing unnecessary constraints. And by unconventional, you mean people who might not wear tailored suits or follow traditional corporate norms, Daniel confirmed. People whose value lies in their unique perspectives and creativity rather than their adherence to standardized expectations. People who, like me this morning, you might be tempted to dismiss at first glance. The challenge was clear, and despite her lingering embarrassment, Sophia felt a spark of professional curiosity. Could she adapt her systems-oriented approach to accommodate a more diverse and less structured team? The idea was both intimidating and intriguing. And if I refuse? Daniel's expression remained open, non-threatening. Then you continue in your current role, and I find someone else to lead the project. This isn't an ultimatum, Sophia. It's an opportunity, one I'm offering because I believe you're capable of more growth and adaptability than perhaps you've allowed yourself to demonstrate. As they left the restaurant, Sophia found herself at a crossroads unlike any she'd faced in her career. The safe path would be to decline this opportunity and focus on protecting her current position. Yet something about Daniel Reyes, his unexpected approach, his insightful challenges, his willingness to look beyond surface appearances, had awakened a long-dormant sense of professional curiosity. I'll do it, she said finally, extending her hand to seal the agreement. But I have one condition. Daniel raised an eyebrow, taking her hand. His palm was warm and calloused, not the soft grip of someone who spent all day behind a desk. I'm listening. If I'm going to work with your unconventional team, you need to spend a day observing my current department. See firsthand why my systems are in place before asking me to dismantle them. A slow smile spread across Daniel's face, respect evident in his expression. Fair enough, Ms. Martinez. It seems we both have a lot to learn from each other. As they shook hands, Sophia couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that her carefully constructed professional life was about to be thoroughly disrupted, and that perhaps, just perhaps, such disruption was long overdue. On a rainy Tuesday morning 3 weeks later, Sophia found herself standing in a converted warehouse space that bore little resemblance to Horizon's sleek corporate headquarters. The expansive room featured flexible workstations, comfortable seating areas, an open kitchen, and even a small recreational space with a ping-pong table. Natural light poured in through skylights, illuminating walls covered with whiteboards, sticky notes, and conceptual drawings. This was the home base for Project Access, the special initiative that had consumed Sophia's life for the past 21 days. Her normally immaculate appearance had gradually evolved, subtle changes at first, like trading her stilettos for more practical flats, then bolder adaptations like the dark jeans she now wore with a simple blouse and blazer. Her hair, usually pulled back in a severe bun, now fell in a more relaxed style that framed her face softly. The physical changes mirrored her internal transformation, an ongoing process of unlearning and relearning that alternately frustrated and exhilarated her. "Morning, Sophia," called Mei Lin, the team's lead designer, wheeling herself over to where Sophia stood, reviewing the project timeline. Mei's wheelchair was customized with colorful spoke guards featuring elegant geometric patterns of her own design. "You look like you're plotting world domination again." Sophia smiled despite herself. 3 weeks ago, she would have considered such casual familiarity from a team member inappropriate. Now, she recognized it as part of the authentic connection that made this unusual team so effective. "Not world domination," Sophia replied. tapping the timeline. Just trying to figure out how we're going to meet these development milestones without burning everyone out. Traditional milestone tracking doesn't work for creative problem solving. Came a familiar voice from behind her. Daniel approached, carrying 2 cups of coffee. As usual, he was dressed casually. Today in dark jeans not unlike her own and a simple button-down shirt with rolled sleeves. He offered one of the cups to Sophia. The team needs space for iteration and failure. Sophia accepted the coffee, noting how his fingers brushed hers in the exchange. These small moments of contact had become increasingly frequent over the past weeks, each one sending an unwelcome flutter through her usually composed demeanor. Iteration, yes, she countered, regaining her professional focus. Unconstrained exploration, no. Even creative processes need structure to be productive. Daniel's eyes lit with that now familiar spark of intellectual challenge. Structure, yes. Suffocation, no. Their good-natured debate was interrupted by the arrival of Raj, the brilliant but socially awkward programmer whose neurodivergent perspective had proven invaluable to the project. He avoided eye contact as he approached, focusing instead on the tablet in his hands. "I solved the feedback loop issue," he announced without preamble. Added a subroutine that allows for variance in user input timing. It's elegant, actually. He turned the tablet to show them his solution, his entire demeanor transforming as he explained the technical details with animated enthusiasm. 3 weeks ago, Sophia would have interrupted such a technical digression, redirecting to business implications. Now, she listened attentively, recognizing that understanding Raj's process was just as important as understanding his results. When he finished, she asked targeted questions that showed she'd followed his explanation, earning a rare direct glance and the hint of a smile before he retreated to his workstation. "You're getting better at that," Daniel observed quietly after Raj had gone. "At what?" "Meeting people where they are instead of expecting them to adapt to your communication style." Sophia felt an unexpected warmth at the simple praise. "I'm learning that effective management isn't one-size-fits-all. Different people respond to different approaches." "A revolutionary concept," Daniel teased, eyes crinkling at the corners. Sophia rolled her eyes, but couldn't suppress her answering smile. "Don't push it, Reyes. I still believe in deadlines and accountability." "I wouldn't have it any other way, Martinez." Their informal exchange was interrupted by May calling everyone for the morning stand-up meeting. As the team gathered in a loose circle, Sophia observed the diverse group she'd come to respect over the past weeks. May with her brilliant design insights, Raj and his programming genius, Jordan with their unique user experience perspective, Elena bringing marketing expertise, and others, each contributing in ways that might never have been recognized in Horizon's traditional corporate structure. The meeting flowed with an organic efficiency that was different from, but no less effective than, Sophia's usually rigidly structured approach. Ideas were proposed, challenged, refined, and assigned in a collaborative dance that produced rapid results without sacrificing quality. As the team dispersed to their tasks, Daniel touched Sophia's elbow lightly. "Walk with me? I could use your perspective on something." They strolled through the converted warehouse to a small conference room in the back. Inside, prototypes of assistive devices were arranged on a central table, early physical manifestations of the software interfaces the team was developing. Daniel closed the door behind them, then turned to Sophia with unexpected seriousness. "You've surprised me, Sophia." She raised an eyebrow. "In good ways or bad?" "Impressive ways," he clarified. "When I proposed this project, I expected resistance, compliance under protest, maybe even subtle sabotage. Instead, you've adapted and contributed in ways I couldn't have anticipated." Sophia considered his words carefully. "I could say the same about you. I expected a dilettante owner playing at disruption without understanding operational fundamentals. Instead, he prompted when she hesitated. "Instead, I found someone who genuinely understands both innovation and implementation. It's rare." A charged silence followed her admission. Daniel took a step closer, near enough that Sophia could detect the subtle scent of his cologne. "What else have you found, Sophia?" His voice had dropped lower, the professional veneer slipping to reveal something more personal. Sophia felt her heart rate accelerate. This attraction that had been building between them was dangerous, complicated by their professional relationship and the vast power differential created by his ownership position. "Daniel," she began, voice uncharacteristically uncertain. "This project has been illuminating professionally, but we should maintain appropriate boundaries." To her surprise, Daniel stepped back immediately, respect evident in his expression. "You're right. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable." "You didn't," Sophia admitted before she could censor herself. "That's part of the problem." Understanding dawned in his eyes, followed by a rueful smile. "Complicated, isn't it?" "Extremely." Sophia gathered her professional composure around her like armor. "We should focus on the project deliverables. The board presentation is in 2 days." Daniel nodded, accepting her redirection. "About that, I'd like you to lead the presentation." Sophia blinked in surprise. "Me? But this is your initiative. And you've become its most effective advocate," he countered. "You bridge the gap between innovation and implementation in a way the board will respect. Your transformation from skeptic to champion makes you the perfect person to communicate why this approach matters." The vote of confidence both pleased and unsettled her. "And if they're not convinced?" Daniel's expression grew serious. "Then we'll have learned something important about Horizon's readiness for change." As they returned to the main workspace, Sophia found herself reflecting on her own readiness for change. The past 3 weeks had challenged fundamental aspects of her professional identity, forcing her to question assumptions she'd held as immutable truths. What had begun as a humiliating encounter with a maintenance man had evolved into a journey of professional reinvention, and perhaps personal rediscovery as well. The board presentation loomed as both challenge and opportunity. Could she effectively advocate for this new approach without compromising the principles of excellence and accountability she still believed in? And could she navigate her complex feelings for Daniel while maintaining the professional integrity that defined her? As if sensing her thoughts, Daniel caught her eye across the room and offered a small, encouraging nod. In that moment, Sophia made a decision. She would approach this presentation with the same courage and adaptability she discovered within herself these past weeks. Whatever the outcome, she was no longer the same rigid, appearance-obsessed manager who had mocked a badly dressed man in a conference room. That woman would never have recognized the potential standing right in front of her, in more ways than one. The Horizon Technologies boardroom epitomized corporate power with its gleaming mahogany table, leather executive chairs, and panoramic view of the city skyline. Sophia had presented in this room dozens of times over her career, always meticulously prepared, always projecting unassailable confidence. Today was different. She stood at the head of the table, conscious of the 12 board members watching her with expressions ranging from skepticism to curiosity. Her presentation materials were ready, her talking points memorized, yet she felt an unfamiliar vulnerability as she prepared to advocate for a vision that had fundamentally altered her own professional perspective. Daniel sat quietly at the opposite end of the table, dressed more formally than she'd ever seen him in a tailored charcoal suit that somehow emphasized rather than diminished his unconventional energy. He gave her a subtle nod of encouragement. "Ladies and gentlemen of the board," Sophia began, her voice steady despite her inner uncertainty. "Today I'm presenting not just a new product initiative, but a new approach to innovation at Horizon Technologies." For the next 30 minutes, Sophia guided the board through Project Access's development process, achievements, and market potential. She highlighted how diverse perspectives and flexible operational structures had enabled breakthrough solutions that traditional approaches might have missed. Throughout her presentation, she drew strategic parallels between the team's unorthodox methods and their tangible business results. The prototype has tested with a 97% positive response rate among users with a wide range of accessibility needs, she explained, displaying user feedback data. And perhaps more significantly, 82% of users without accessibility challenges also preferred our interface, suggesting broader market potential than originally anticipated. Charles Blackwood, the most senior board member and notorious skeptic, leaned forward with narrowed eyes. Impressive numbers, Ms. Martinez, but let's address the elephant in the room. This project has operated completely outside our established protocols. The development timeline violated our standard gates, the budget allocation procedure bypassed normal channels, and the team structure ignored our organizational hierarchy entirely. Sophia felt a flash of her old defensiveness, the instinct to retreat to rigid structures and proven processes. Instead, she took a breath and responded with hard-earned insight. You're absolutely right, Mr. Blackwood. We did operate outside established protocols, intentionally and strategically. Those protocols were designed for predictable, incremental innovation. They serve us well in that context, but would have strangled the breakthrough thinking this project required. Blackwood's eyebrows rose at her candid response. Are you suggesting we abandon operational discipline entirely, Ms. Martinez? That seems oddly out of character, given your reputation. Not at all, Sophia replied, warming to the challenge. I'm suggesting we develop operational flexibility, different approaches for different types of innovation, rigid structures for incremental improvements, adaptive frameworks for disruptive innovation. The discipline isn't in adhering to a single process. It's in knowing when each approach serves us best. From the corner of her eye, Sophia caught Daniel's expression, a blend of pride and something deeper that sent an inappropriate flutter through her chest. And you believe you could implement such flexibility across the organization? This from Diane Winters, the finance-focused board member who had always been one of Sophia's strongest supporters. With the right leadership support, yes, Sophia confirmed. But it would require cultural change, not just procedural adjustments. The questions continued, probing and challenging. Sophia fielded them with a blend of her traditional analytical precision and her newly developed appreciation for innovation's human elements. As the scheduled hour drew to a close, she offered her closing thoughts. This project has taught me that excellence doesn't always wear a suit, she said, allowing a momentary glance toward Daniel. Sometimes it comes in unexpected packages, challenging our assumptions and expanding our definition of professional value. I believe Horizon can lead our industry not just in technological innovation, but in creating the organizational cultures that nurture breakthrough thinking. As discussion broke out among the board members, Daniel stood and joined Sophia. Well done, he murmured. Authentic and compelling. Whatever they decide, you should be proud. Sophia felt an unexpected surge of emotion at his validation. The past month had transformed her in ways she was only beginning to understand. She had entered this project defensive and rigid, clinging to control through strict protocols and appearance-based judgments. She was emerging with a more nuanced understanding of effective leadership, and perhaps a more authentic version of herself. The board chairman eventually called for a vote. To Sophia's surprise, the initiative received unanimous approval, with additional funding allocated for expanding the accessibility product line and implementing elements of the team's flexible approach across other innovation projects. As board members filed out, many stopped to congratulate Sophia, their respect evident despite, or perhaps because of, the challenge she had presented to their traditional thinking. When the room finally emptied except for Daniel and herself, Sophia allowed herself a moment of genuine celebration. "We did it," she said, a smile breaking across her face. "You did it," Daniel corrected, approaching her with undisguised admiration. "You convinced a dozen risk-averse executives to embrace uncertainty and flexibility. That's no small feat." Sophia shook her head. "I couldn't have done it without experiencing it firsthand. You were right to challenge me, Daniel. I needed to see beyond my own rigid thinking." Daniel leaned against the boardroom table, studying her with those perceptive amber eyes. "So what now, Sophia Martinez? Back to your corner office and department oversight." The question hung between them, laden with implications both professional and personal. "Actually," Sophia began, surprising herself with the certainty in her voice, "I'd like to continue with Project Access. The board approved a permanent division, and it needs leadership that balances innovation with implementation." Daniel's expression brightened. "I was hoping you'd say that. The team respects you, despite, or perhaps because of your journey from skeptic to advocate." "And what about you?" Sophia asked, gathering her courage to address the unspoken tension between them. What do you respect? Your integrity, he answered without hesitation. Your willingness to change without abandoning your core principles. Your courage in admitting when you're wrong and your determination to do better. He stepped closer, close enough that she could see the flecks of gold in his amber eyes. And if I'm being completely honest, your ability to look stunning whether you're wearing designer suits or jeans and a blazer. Sophia felt a blush rise to her cheeks, an utterly unfamiliar sensation in a professional setting. This is complicated, she said softly. You're still technically my boss. I could fix that, Daniel replied, a hint of his characteristic mischief returning. Project Access could be established as a separate entity within the Horizon family. Different reporting structure, different board oversight. The suggestion revealed both his interest and his respect for her professional boundaries, a combination Sophia found irresistibly compelling. Are you restructuring an entire company just to ask me to dinner, Mr. Reyes? She challenged, her own smile turning playful. I'm identifying an elegant solution to multiple organizational challenges. Ms. Martinez, he countered, eyes dancing with humor and warmth. The dinner invitation is merely a beneficial side effect. Sophia laughed, the sound echoing in the formal boardroom that had witnessed her most transformative professional presentation. I believe in thorough due diligence before making significant decisions, she said, stepping closer to him. Dinner would be an appropriate first step in that process. Daniel's smile widened. I know just the place, unless you object to establishments without Michelin stars. I'm discovering that remarkable experiences often come in unexpected packages, Sophia replied, thinking of how a badly dressed man in a conference room had completely upended her carefully constructed world, and how grateful she was for that disruption. As they left the boardroom together, Sophia reflected on the irony of her journey. She had spent years building a professional identity based on control, appearance, and rigid standards, only to find her greatest success and personal growth in learning to look beyond those very things. The woman who had once mocked a maintenance worker for his torn jeans was now planning dinner with that same man. Eager to explore both professional and personal possibilities she would never have considered just 1 month ago. Life, like innovation, sometimes required the courage to venture beyond comfortable protocols into the messy, unpredictable realm of human connection. And Sophia Martinez, ever the fast learner, was ready for this new challenge. By the way, Daniel said as they waited for the elevator, I've been meaning to ask, what exactly was wrong with my gray t-shirt that day? Sophia laughed, shaking her head. Nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. The elevator doors opened, inviting them forward into possibility. Together, they stepped inside.